Hello, it is I, Sir Devon of Kang, and welcome back to another YouTube video. And today, this will be me telling you how I would write the next step from a writer's point of view. Um, I don't know anything about dance, so forgive me if just forgive me if it sounds nonsensical. Now. If I read too fast, I do apologize, but I'd actually have a lot of changes to the show. So this is how I would write the show. So first of all, I would set this in 2022 when the coronavirus has subsided for a bit, and because of coronavirus, nationals was cancelled, which meant neither troops could go to nationals. I know what you're going to say, but in their universe, the coronavirus never happened. Well, some will meddle with the timelines, so. Secondly, hold on, I'm just going to have my cup of tea. I will put Winnie, Presley, Cleo, Jude, Ethan, and Marcus all in A Troop. Piper would start her own dance company. Cassie would return to be the head choreographer. Heather would be the admin assistant as well as dancing, and Amy will be the studio head. Nick would have had to go back to England to help his mother because his mother is clinically extremely vulnerable and needs looking after, and she started shielding, and she has post-lockdown anxiety, so she might need Nick to look after him. Piper and Finn, and of course, they left and they got married. And Rochelle now does dance competitions. And everyone, forgive me for my sins, but Summer leaves to become a professional wrestler for All Elite Wrestling. One at WWE. I'm not a WWE guy anymore. So also Kenzie fell in love with Kingston and moves to Paris. Henry becomes a rapper, and Kingston, Izzy, and Ozzy become police officers. If you're wondering how Kenzie and Kingston are going to work, they have a long distance relationship. It's a thing we haven't seen in TNS before, and therefore I'd like to see it again. So the auditions get underway. A new dancer comes in. He is called Kenny. Kenny's shy at first, and during the auditions, Kenny gets too anxious and runs out. He paces around the room, and Winnie comes in, and Kenny tells Winnie that he is autistic. So, like me, I'd have it actually played by an autistic actor. I think it needs to happen. So I would cast myself in the no, not really. I can't dance. Um. So uh. Kenny tells Winnie he's autistic, and he finds it hard to cope. When he tells them that he shouldn't be anxious and shares her crush of Ozzy, and then after the auditions, Kenny immediately gets into A Troop and the lineup is complete, and Presley's now dance captain. So the next step are going to internationals, and this time it's in Japan. Cassie and Amy go over a dance. However, they find that a new rival studio has opened, the Wolf Pack. Later on, in a cafe, Lucien turns up. He turns out he would be the owner of the Wolf Pack. After Elite shut down, Lucien wormed his way into creating another studio. It took him years, but the pandemic proved to him that he could create another studio. His head choreographer is Chantel. Remember her? She was in it for a few episodes. And dance captain is, and I'm sorry everyone, Heathcliff. First Daniel, now Heath. Um. So, where are we? Sorry. So then Amy turns to Summers to help, so she brings in Adam Cole, baby! The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Not the Kenny on A-Troop, but Kenny Omega. They use a few team building exercises and words of encouragement, and TNS are online by the words of Kenny and Co. And they get tickets to see AEW in Japan for a team up event with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So Heather would be dealing with personal issues regarding her family. One of her family members dies of lung cancer, and she struggles with the grief. She doesn't tell anyone and falls into depression. Before she leaves, though, Amy talks to her. This will be an emotional scene for all, and Heather has to take time off. Other dancers promise to surprise Heather. When Heather enters Studio A, she finds that Josh and Zara are there. They hold a celebration of life before the next step go to Japan. So like the other internationals party, but this time it will be more of a serious event. So when A-Troop go to Japan, they are amazed. They go sightseeing and they go to check out the venue. All Elite Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling are there as well. Right, so this is a pitch for the end of the Bullet Club Civil War thing that's going on at the minute. So forgive me. Dance fans, you can skip this bit if you like. I know you're not interested in wrestling. So they see a match with Kenny and the Elite versus the Bullet Club Originals. Prince Devitt, or Finn Balor, turns up and cuts a promo about what Bullet Club used to be. At the end, Bullet Club hug it all out and go their separate ways. After the show, Summer turns up and talks to Amy. Summer encourages Amy to help out and to win what she could never do all those years ago. Also, there's a character development from all of A-Troop. Sorry, that's my cup of tea. Internationals arrives. Next Step knows that this will be their final dance. Amy just has a feeling about it. The Next Step bludgeon their way through the competition. Semi-finals are against England, and to their surprise, Ella turns up. She now owns a studio. England and TNS face each other off in the semi-final, and the Next Step win. The final is here, so the Wolf Pack versus the Next Step. And during the final dance, we see faces from the past of Next Step history. So Stephanie, Sierra, Skylar, Hunter, Max, Riley, James, and everyone who's been in it, because it's had a lot of cast members. More cast members, I'd say, than they've had. The Next Step has had more characters than the Flash has had villains. They danced to the stand up, the theme from the show, and during this scene, everyone recalls their time in B Troop, and obviously the winners are the Next Step. They are overjoyed. Lucien shakes Amy's hand, and they get ready to depart Japan. When a man comes to congratulate them, Amy says that she just had a feeling this would be her final time, to which the man says, "You can't run from everything. You just gotta face it." When Amy and A-Troop get back to the Next Step, they find that the building is on fire. Everything they ever loved, danced, and fought for is gone forever, consumed by smoke and ash. In the background, a streak of blue light comes. In the distance, he looks down at them. Presley looks back, but he disappears before she could see him. Fast forward 30 years later, Piper is now the studio head. James and Riley drop off their child, Alfie, at the Next Step. Nia and Rochelle drop their child, Abigail, off as well. The Next Step building has been repaired, but who was that streak? That, my friend, is a story for another time. So, what did you think of that? Do you like the idea of the next step going down in flames? Do you like the idea of a corporate team up between AEW, the next step, and New Japan Pro Wrestling? Do you like the idea of Amy being studio head? Do you like that I brought back Cassie? Do you like that Internationals is in Japan? Do you like the fact that I've put an autistic character in the show? I think it's very important that the next step has an autistic character, because the one thing it lacks is a disabled actor. Yeah. And who was that blue streak? Well, is a video from another time. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on in the next one. So goodbye, good night, too sweet.